Try GoToMeeting free for 30 days. Visit gotomeeting.com/techpodcasts. More details leaking out about Apple's long-rumored tablet. We've been hearing rumors for years. Now Brian Lam has done some pretty good reporting, asking some industry sources in the publishing industry, and apparently Apple's talking to them about getting some sort of book or hybrid book or some sort of new type of content on this tablet. We're also hearing again that it's going to be running the iPhone OS. That's from rumors yesterday. And we're hearing that Apple's picked up a guy who used to work on the Newton, ironically, and he will be leading up the tablet efforts as well. With all these new rumors leaking out, there's lots to talk about. And to talk about it, we bring in a couple of technology journalists. First off, Seth Porges from Popular Mechanics. Seth, thanks for being with us.
Thanks again.
Also, we bring in Joel Evans from Geek.com. Joel, thanks for being with us as well.
Thank you for having me.
It's been a pretty crazy week as far as leaks go. I mean, obviously, we've been hearing about the tablet for a really long time. This latest thing from Brian Lam, it's pretty interesting to hear about how Apple's trying to create a hybrid sort of book with with text, video, audio, kind of all put together, maybe through that iTunes LP format. I don't know, Seth, what's your take on the rumors, maybe specifically with Brian Lam's thing today? And more to the point, I mean, what's the percentage of likelihood we're actually going to see this thing in January?
Well, it really excites me because we've seen a lot of attempts at tablets before, and there are other tablets out there, and other companies are working on tablets sort of with this belief that 2010 is going to be the year of the tablet. Like Arcos has one coming out, a bunch of other companies do. What's interesting about this is most of the other tablets we've seen have done really nothing fundamentally new. They've done nothing to really differentiate it from a netbook or another computer, just a different form factor. What Apple is trying to do is create specialized content that is really made and tailor-made to work on this platform. So they're really not just trying to create a new form factor, they're trying to create a whole new platform, and that's fairly exciting. Because being in the publishing industry, I would love to have great new ways of giving content out with, video in the flat thing, all sorts of cool stuff. And if they're going to try this new things, it's good for me as a journalist. It's also good for readers and for everybody else because, hey, it's a whole new platform. It's compelling, it's new, and it's fairly exciting.
One of the big problems that this brings up is, it is definitely new, and it brings up some questions, though. I mean, specifically, are people going to understand how this device works and what to expect? Joel, what do you think? I mean, we kind of get it sort of through the grapevine that it's going to be some media tablet that's runs on the iPhone OS, blah, 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 blah. But when you try to explain that to someone and say it's a totally new concept, I mean, do they run a risk of really, not being able to explain this to the regular person?
Well, I think Apple has this unique ability to get people excited about something and get them to think that they need it, even if they've never heard of it. So they're going to build on everything that they've done with the iPod Touch, and they'll make it a pretty logical leap there. The issue I have is more around if the price point doesn't hit right, it becomes a nice-to-have, not a must-have.
Yeah.
The iPhone became a must-have because initially it was in that nice-to-have market, the $5.99, then it went down to $4.99, but now, it's $99. It's kind of like, well, what phone do I want? Of course I want the iPhone. But with the tablet, it's kind of like, do I need this additional device as the economy is, finally recovering? What is it really going to bring to the table? As a technologist, I'm excited about what Apple is going to do with it, because we've all heard the stories of how the iPhone was incubated for a long time and Jobs wouldn't let it see the light of day, and now we're hearing the same thing around the tablet. So they've perfected it. The public is ready for the interaction that the tablet can bring. I think it's really going to be more around price point, who's going to subsidize it, and what's it going to do that my computer won't do for me today?
Yeah. Well, let's answer some of those questions speculatively. I mean, Seth, what's the best case scenario? Like, what does Apple need to do price point wise, and what kind of functionality does it need to have? Does it need to have a 3G radio? Let's talk about that. It can just handle Wi-Fi. Does it need to be $299 or less, $100, $500? What sort of what's kind of the sweet spot that Apple needs to hit?
Well, I've heard rumors that they're going to put two versions out, one with 3G and one without. And this makes sense. This is exactly what they did, of course, with the iPhone, where you have your iPod Touch and you have the iPhone. And this is great, especially because people don't like signing contracts. And there's a 3G radio involved. There's going to be some sort of commitment to a service provider, hopefully not AT&T again. And that's really going to turn down for a lot of people. So what they need is two versions, and they're almost certainly going to have two versions. They're not stupid. They know this. So they'll have the 3G version, which will be incredible, the ability to pull all this rich content off anywhere you go. Then they'll have the radio list version, almost certainly, which will be good for the couch surfer, literally. You're using your Wi-Fi at home, or for watching videos or documents that are loaded onto the local drive. But other things it's going to need, it's really, what I would love to see it do is take advantage of this new capacitive touchscreen that was just released by Synaptic. Like previous ones only have a couple different touch points. This new one, Synaptics just released, has 10 different touch points,
wow.
which gives it not just a whole bunch of cool stuff you manage use all 10 different fingers, but it makes everything more detailed and nuanced. If they can integrate this new touchscreen into it, which I'm sure they actually probably are thinking of doing because it allows for a greater area than the current touchscreens do, then they could really open up the door to really compelling, nuanced, really accurate touch, which would be really key to the experience on a screen that big.
Yeah, especially with things. I mean, right now these drawing applications for the iPhone are sort of speculative and kind of lame. I mean, you can draw, but the accuracy, as anyone will tell you, is it's not really that on. I guess something like that would make it a little bit easier for maybe a digital artist to like sketch something with. I guess they could use all 10 fingers or whatever they want to do. Joel, what's your take? I mean, what's the sort of must-have specs that they need to hit to get this really as something that is a real product instead of something like the Apple TV?
Instead of the Apple TV.
Yeah,
well,
exactly.
I think one thing that they have going for it right now, and they could do very easily for the Apple TV, but they won't, is take advantage of the existing app market. The app market is huge. There's 85,000 apps out there. Depending on how they can actually scale the resolution, or if they'll let you play it in a little window, I doubt it. But depending on how they can actually leverage the tremendous developer base, the tremendous apps that are out there already, is going to open up a whole new market. Because Apple's very smart in the way they did that with the iPhone, letting the developers come up with what they think the iPhone should do, with the exception of multitasking. But the tablet, I think, is going to, if it had launched any sooner, if it had been rumored any sooner, it wouldn't have gotten the play that it's getting. It's the fact that it's going to be able to leverage all of everything that people identify with now, the iPhone OS, the App Store. I'm still trying to figure out how it's going to have a place in my house. I just don't see the true value of it, other than sharing an app with someone. I shouldn't say that. Reading would be very cool to have an interactive newspaper, and Apple will figure out a way to DRM that and wrap it all up so no one else can touch it. So
to me, though, it's one of those cool things, like you guys say. I mean, it's a really cool idea. I'm definitely not sold on it as a slam dunk like the iPod was, or as even something like the iPhone, which was kind of like a no-brainer at that point since phones were so awful. Creating a whole new product category is something that's really difficult, and since Apple's so into creating a perfect experience from start to finish, I have a friend who is a writer he used to edit the unofficial Apple weblog, and he said that he's seen pictures of a tablet from a reliable source clear back in 2004. So this is something that's been, it's been around for a while. They've been smart to hold off on it till now. I'm saying personally that maybe they should still hold off on it because I'm not sold that it's going to work. Anyway, regardless, we're out of time. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, we're out of time. Say if we could jump in one more thing. The other thing you mentioned is they hired back the Newton designer. Yeah. So the Newton is arguably the best PDA experience ever created. It was ahead of its time. There are still people that love it and use it daily. So if they brought that person back in as kind of like a last minute, if the rumors are true and that we'll be seeing something in January, but probably not officially launched then, there's still plenty of months in there to give it that Newton experience.
Yeah, hopefully we'll get something out of this. I mean, we have too many rumors to just go, without anything. We got to have something Apple. Anyway, we're going to leave it there. Seth Porges from Popular Mechanics. Thanks as always for being on the show, Seth. We really appreciate it. Also, Joel Evans from Geek.com. Thanks for joining us as well. I'm Randall Bennett. We want to do a quick shout out to our sponsor. We have GoToMeeting. They're sponsoring us, and they've been nice enough to hook us up for another quarter. We'll get more GoToMeeting ads from them. You can get 30 days for free by heading to gotomeeting.com/techpodcasts, and they'll hook you up there. I'm Randall Bennett. See you next time. Later.
Media hosting provided by Castfire. Anywhere, anytime, any media, Castfire.